Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the White Belt MMA podcast, and it's an absolute pleasure to have on the show today Damon Jackson, UFC Featherweight, who's actually just coming off a big win against Daniel Argueta a couple weeks back. So, Damon, how you doing, my man? How you doing? Because it was a hard-fought victory, but you got the W.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good, man. It was actually just really frustrating fight because I really feel confident that I was better than him everywhere. And I had a really good weight cut up until the rehydration part. So I think that maybe I rehydrated and I got a little bit too big, and I just I held on to a lot of water, and my legs were just like completely fried. So when I went into the fight, I had a really good cut all the way down, like pretty easy, fairly easy. And then once I rehydrated, I think I got a little bit too big, and the weight just wouldn't come off. And so I even worked out the day of weigh-ins and the morning of the fight, just to get a good sweat going, just to make sure my body was ready to go. And I felt great. And then right during the warm-up and before the fight, I was walking out to the cage. I could just feel my legs, just like tightening up, and they started almost felt like they were going to cramp. They never did cramp, but it felt like they were just so heavy that they, just stiff as a board.
No, yeah. And then, in that type of situation, right? Like, is it kind of one of those situations that you're like, man, we're just going to have to deal with this and just go with the game plan? Or is it one of those that just constantly throughout your mind throughout the whole fight?
Well, I actually had to completely switch my game plan all the way around because I was going to stand up with that kid the whole time and box and make him wrestle with me. And so I ended up going out there real aggressive for takedowns because I knew that if I got him down to the ground, I felt comfortable there, but I didn't want to stay on the feet because I wasn't sure how my legs were going to do. And they were just so so tight. And whenever I took him down the first time, he was sitting on top of my legs, and I just could not move my legs because that's not how I have top control. Normally on top control, I have really good position to get to go for submissions or to go for ground and pound. And I couldn't land anything just because my legs were so tight.
Yeah. But, man, regardless, man, you got the W. I mean, there were some points that, I honestly thought you had the rear naked choke, especially. I think it was in the first round that, you were kind of acting like you're about to take a punch and you lived up to the name, the leech.
Yeah.
But, in that situation, right, because actually you saw, throughout the fight, you ended up getting, a big bump on your eye. So do you remember when did you get that? Because, was it bothering you at all throughout the fight, or is it?
No, it never bothered me. I did feel it, though. It was towards the end of the first round, his his knuckle of his thumb ended up hitting me flush right on the eye, and it really did catch me pretty good. And as soon as he hit me with that knuckle, it made my eye just swell up instantly. And but after that, I didn't really take any shots. It was more just he was throwing small shots to try to make it worse, but really it was that one initial shot towards the end of the first round where he caught me with his knuckle.
Yeah. But hey, man, you got the W. So, what was the post-fight celebration like, man? I saw you went on vacation on your story too. What were some of the celebrations? What were some of the things you did with the family after?
Yeah. Right after the fight was over, I hung out with all my friends. We went out to a few places and just kind of chilled. We didn't do a whole lot. And then I immediately, as soon as I came back, I got the girls all packed up, and then we went to Mexico and we stayed there for a full week. And we did a lot there, man. We were all over the place. We did a boat tour. We did zip lines and cenotes and all kinds of stuff. And we had a lot of really good food. So it was nice little break. I'm back in Dallas now. So I'm ready to go. Just trying to prep and get ready for the next weight cut and make sure that I get that on point.
100%. I was just about to ask. I was like, did you indulge in any good food? But I'm assuming you didn't go too crazy, right?
Yeah, I did eat some good stuff. There was some good food, good dinners. I didn't really eat bad all day because it was an all-inclusive place, so the food's not the best. But it was we always had really good dinner, and I definitely ate some stuff that I wouldn't normally eat. But it was a good little break, and now I'm back at it, and back on the diet, and everything's ready.
Yeah, good on you, man. Good on you, man. There's a reason why you're the professional athlete, and I'm the one to ask the questions. If I was in that situation, I would have been eating all kinds of bad stuff. But yeah, Damon. So one thing I always like, when I get fighters on here, right? Like I always like to, know how they got into the sport, right? Like I always, frame the question the same way, right? So, some people they stumbled upon the sport, other people, they get through the sport through family or friends. So for you, what was your story, brother?
I really like didn't watch a lot of UFC until I was like later, like towards like fifth and sixth grade, and then I kind of started watching it with my uncle. And my parents didn't really ever want me watching it, so I never got to watch it. I didn't get to watch it live. I had to watch it on his VHS or DVD. So it was that back in the day they used to they would record a bunch of the UFCs, and then you could buy them. And so he had like a stack of fights, and I started watching the fights. And I kind of saw that there was all the wrestlers were winning every fight. So I was like, man, I want to start wrestling. And so I looked at my parents looked into wrestling, and there was nothing in my hometown until middle school. And so I started wrestling in middle school, just because that's what I knew. This is what I wanted to do, was be in the UFC. And so it was it was just kind of that was the path I chose, was sports, and wrestling was my goal to get to the UFC. Was the best route was to chase wrestling. So I wrestled through high school and college, and then after I started fighting amateur fights in college. And then as soon as I got done with college, I went pro like a couple months later. And I made it to the UFC real quick, but it was just wrestling is what got me started.
Yeah, 100%, man. And again, what I mean, obviously, like you said, you kind of had the set goal from an early age. So for you, that first fight that you turned pro, man, what was the feelings like? You're just like, hey, man, I'm on the right path, or is it again some other people? I mean, they're going into the cage and they got some butterflies in their stomach. So what for you? What was your feeling like?
I always get butterflies, but it's like a good nervous feeling. Like it's always I just want to be able to perform the right way. And for me, my pro debut was no different than the amateur, or my amateur fights were the same as my pro fight. It was I didn't want to go out there and lose. I wanted to win everything, and I love to compete. So whatever it is, I like to compete and I like to win. So when I go in there, I'm just worried about winning the fight. I'm not worried about the outside pressure, people around me, or nothing like that. It was really just a matter of going out there and doing what I've been training to do for all those years.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned it there earlier, right? That you made it to the UFC pretty quick. And then,
Yeah.
For you, that first stint, man, what was that like? Do you feel in a way that that first stint kind of helped you when you came back into the UFC? Because ever since you came back to this UFC, man, you came back, strong, man. So for you, do you think that first stint just helped you and kind of evolved your game to the point that it is today?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody thinks that when you're a fighter, you kind of have to think that you're the toughest and you're the meanest, and you have to think all these things. So whenever I got to that high level, I was 9-0. I just beat Leonard Garcia, but I'd only been fighting for a year and a half. So it was, it happened so quickly that I definitely wasn't ready for it. And, mentally, I wasn't prepared to lose. And, I think that, having that experience in the gym and having that experience in your career early on is really important, to be tested all the time. And I wasn't really ever tested. Every fight that I had one fight where the guy, before I made it to UFC, I had one fight where the guy he caught me, and then I had to really wrestle good, and I had to, get the finish in the second round. But it was I really never got tested until I got to the UFC. And that's definitely not the place you want to kind of grow up. You'd rather grow up outside the UFC and get that experience outside there. So when you get there, you're, ready to go. But, I think that making it there young and making it there so quick was definitely a big reason why I have had all the success that I had. And I still I'm chasing the same goal that I set out to be, because I feel when I made it the first time, I wasn't the same person at all. So, I'm just growing so much as a fighter, and as the way I think about things. So, it definitely has helped me, in so many ways. And, being there, having that experience, and then coming back and getting that, that second chance it's really cool.
Yeah, 100%. And, I also have to ask, mentally, right? Because, and I feel people go through this throughout the life, right? They kind of go through a rough patch. And did you have to lean on to families and family and friends, your close people, to kind of keep you on the track? Or was your mindset always set that okay, well, it didn't work out the first time, but I'll be back. I'll be back. So for you,
Yeah.
what was that case? Like your mindset
I
or just,
mean,
family and
yeah.
friends?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely always have great support. I have a really tight family. I have 4 daughters, and my wife's she's been with me since I started fighting, and so she's been there with me the whole time. And we've definitely had that talk for sure. We've went through all the scenarios, and making sure that like I'm doing the right thing, and I'm not like affecting my family. So it's like I've definitely had that support forever. But like I said, I made it to UFC so early that whenever I got released, I kind of felt like I was just getting started. So it was just a matter of, I think like as soon as I got released, I fought like, maybe 2 months after I got released, or maybe a month after I got released. So it was a real quick turnaround. And then I had like a 5-fight win streak. I lost. And then I had um, another 5-fight win streak. And then I lost again in PFL. And then I came back to Legacy, won, and then I went to the UFC. So it's I've been since the beginning of my career, I try to stay as busy as I can, and I really don't think a whole lot about like that initial run in the UFC. It was just a good good couple fights, good experience, and then I've grown so much since then that I don't really think that this is my second time around. Whatever, I just kind of feel like I'm just getting started again.
Yeah, 100%, man. And you came back strong, man. And, just to bring
Yeah.
it back to the present day, man, you're coming off that win in Daniel Argueta. And I saw in the post-fight interview that, that Dallas card, man, that's the card that you want to be on. So is that still the goal, or is it one of those that's like, it might be a little too late to, get onto that card?
Yeah. Yeah. I immediately asked for that. And it could sorry about that. Yeah,
No
it
worries,
couldn't
man. You good.
happen just because it was like once I originally wanted the Dallas card, and then they said that they weren't going to come to Dallas on June 18th. And so then I said, okay, well, book me on the first fight. And then they booked me on the June 4th card. And then after I already signed the contract, then they came out with the news that they pushed the fight to July 18th, or yeah, July, whatever, 30th.
Mhm.
And by that time I already had the fight. So I knew it was going to be pushing it on the timeline. And I think if I would have went out there and finished that kid like in the first round, then I could have had, some kind of negotiation with it. But, going out there and having a 3-round decision like that, you don't really have a whole lot of control over what you're going to do next. So it was, I told, like, as soon as the fight was over, I said I would love to get on the Dallas card. And then the next day they sent me my matchup. And so I'll be fighting September 17th.
Oh, 100%. And do you have an
Yeah.
opponent yet, or is it one of those like it's
Yeah.
too early to say
Yeah.
anything yet?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that he signed the deal, but it's Pat Sabatini. So he's on a 4-fight win streak. I'm on 3-fight, and it's it's a tough matchup for both of us. It's definitely a battle of grapplers for sure. So it could be a lot of stand up, and it's definitely a big test for both of us. And I'm looking to go in there and do my thing, and come at this kid heavy, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, 100%, man. I can't wait to see it, man. I'll be rooting for you, man. It'll be a real entertaining matchup. And like you said, man, both of you guys are really good. So it'll be a great one for the fans. So,
Yeah.
like I said off camera, man, I don't want to keep you for too long, and you're a busy guy. But before we go, do you want to plug in all your social media so everyone can go and watch you?
Yeah. It's Damon B Jackson on all my social media. It's the same. I just use Twitter and Instagram. I don't really use anything else. But like I appreciate everybody's support. It's cool seeing everybody support in their own little way, and I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate you having me on. And hopefully, we'll get going on this one, and I'll get another fight. One more fight this year.
No, 100%, man, 100%. So, Damon, again, you're the man. Thanks for the time, and to everyone watching, peace.